Yeah, and that's about as terrible as you can get. For live and for live. There we go. That's much better. Much better. What's up, everybody? Tonight we are going to take a look. We're going to take a stroll over and visit our boys, the boys over at the chassis dyno side, because they're running some cool things. They got a truck over there with a blower on it, big block. It's fuel injected. So it's got a lot of cool stuff. We're also going to take a look at the BARRA, because I found something cool on one of the BARRAs. One of these things is not like the others. One of them is definitely different. So we're going to take a look at that. Also, as a matter of fact, here's one of the BARRAs over here. Take a look at this baby. This is a territory one. And we know that, as I just found out, because it has a steel sump that's attached to, you know, aluminum. It's got a combination, which is very cool. The other two are just all aluminum pans, which is very cool. So we're going to take a look at that. We got a truck here in the background. We've got a lot of cool stuff that was here today, including Don Mazier brought his race car today, which is a I'll think of it. I'll think of what class it runs. It looks kind of like a pro stock car. It's very cool. Just when everybody thinking that they're super cool, he brings out that thing, because it's like, you know, it's like the real deal. So I'm gonna do an Instagram post on that, and I'm trying to remember the class that it's in. Top Sportsman, I think, is what it is. So it's a 600-inch big block with 2 kits on it, and they were doing some testing and tuning today on it. So it was, you know, big slice of awesomeness. It's always cool to see that stuff here. You know, that's real race car, real racy stuff. So also, what did they run today? They ran another big block today on the engine dyno. They ran the Ford yesterday. I was doing a video on not just belt slippage, but supercharger stuff when we pin the crankshaft, because we get otherwise you get the damper slipping on the crank, which is not good for a lot of different reasons. So I'm doing a video on that, so that will be out tomorrow. You guys will get to see that, and so you guys are getting a little heads up, because all the live feed guys get the, you know, special attention. Noodles is here. Let's make some noise. Stango Niner, Boost O'Clock. I like that. How are you guys doing today? Rewatching the old Buick videos. Good. Yeah, too bad about the 4.3 liter. If you guys haven't taken a look, make sure that you go take a look. The 4.3 liter L99 video that I just posted up earlier today. Unfortunately, as a matter of fact, we'll go take a little gander over there. That one was not going to survive. It was destined not to be happy. I'll show you some of the bearings and stuff on there. It's not good. So I got to get another one. But here's you can see, you can take a look, some of the carnage there. So we definitely have some, you can kind of see, definitely got some, you know, bad bearings and bad crank journals to go right along with them. We'll put that there. Hopefully it doesn't fall. You guys can kind of see. Kind of hard to see probably with the camera. It's not working out that well. But we got lots of, we had 3 of them that were, 3 mains that were bad, but I didn't take apart all of the rod journals, but the ones I did take apart, all the rod journals actually seemed like they were okay. The crank can definitely be turned. I'm thinking that if it went 10, it would probably be fine on the mains. But the other thing that I don't like, and I mentioned this in the video, is that when the rods turn blue, when they get that hot, I just don't like to reuse them. I kind of don't trust them after that. And these things are so cheap. I mean, reconditioning the rods would probably cost me more than it will be just to go get another motor from the wrecking yard. That's the great thing about wrecking yard motors. And I like to have a motor that's running, because one that is running and is happy, even if it came from the wrecking yard, is nothing but good. So what I'll do is I'll probably go get another one, and while I'm there, also get an LT1. And that way I can get the motor and run it and make sure that it's good. And if it is good, then I can do the swap over and hopefully make a DZ302 version of it. And, you know, okay, it's more of a gee whiz thing, because as we know, if we have a 4.3 and we have a 5.7, the 5.7 is going to make more than the 4.3. And so if you have a small one and a, relatively speaking, big one, and we make a displacement that's in the middle, what do you think is going to happen with power? It's gonna kind of go in line in terms of the displacement. But I just think it's cool. You know, that's why I want people to do stuff, not because they know that they, you know, they can listen to everybody else and go, oh, just, you know, get an LS or just put a 350 in it or yada, 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 do all that stuff. Do the stuff that you think is cool. That's what the world is. That's what you're going to remember. You're not going to sit back on your rocking chair when you're 100 years old and go, yeah, remember the time I did the same thing as everybody else and put a 350 in it instead of a 4.3 liter? Or you're going to say, remember the time that I like put a 4.3 liter together and went out and beat a bunch of people? Probably not as many as you could have beat when you were 350, but when you're 100 and you're on your rocking chair and you're telling stories to people that have probably heard the stories already, you can make up whatever you want. It doesn't matter. So do the things that make you happy, man. That's what's important. So let's walk over and we'll take a look at the. I'll show you guys the whole. Hopefully the chassis dyno. We're going to be able to go over witness tonight, which will be very cool. I can walk you out right now and show you the what I found out that was really cool about one of the BARRAs. One of them was different than the others. That one was a territory one, which is, you know, a little bit unique compared to these. But I'm going to have to climb up here in my truck, show you some cool stuff, and hopefully not drop everybody. So if we take a look at the BARRA, you'll notice something right there. So you see these controllers right here? There's one on both sides, one over here too, one over here too. Well, apparently that one has an aftermarket LPG system put on it, which apparently in Australia is fairly common. So that one had been upgraded with you know, LPG, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, I can't run that, but it's kind of neat that it had that. So let's walk inside and we'll take a look at the truck. Okay, where's Eric? We can't show Eric. Okay, here we go. What's up? Issues here though. So truck. Whoa. 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 And you can see, take a look inside. It's very, very cool. Obviously, they're just getting all the stuff ready, doing some tuning and stuff on it. Here's the important part. Whoa. Big throaty power. And it's fuel injected. Look at the TPS on there. Yeah, fuel injection. What's up? Look at that thing. So Ish over here. Say hi, Ish. Say what's up,
guys.
Yeah, in the house.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you doing tonight?
We're gonna get this truck tuned up, get it running properly.
Are you making power runs too?
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna do power runs.
Drivability and power?
Drivability, all of it. Startup, cruise, drivability, wide open throttle.
Okay. Start up, drivability. I don't care about power. That's what we want.
We'll get you up in the power.
All right, man. So this thing's cool. And by the way, this tilt front end is electric.
Hey, look at this.
That's push button. What do we got going on?
That's the truck.
Oh, look at that. We got to zoom in on that. I want to make sure I don't hit anybody's like truck parts here. But look what this says. Oh yeah. That's how they roll. Pretty cool stuff though. So what else have we got going on? So we'll wait till they get this thing up and running, and then we can come over and, you know, let's make some noise. Super awesomeness. Wah, wah. Oh, by the way, K24 Turbo Civic. Yeah, what's up? Lots of goodness. I'm going to walk over here and maybe get back in the air conditioning. Yep, chock full of turbo-y goodness there. Everybody likes that. They always got the coolest stuff here at West Tech. So hopefully I'll have good, hopefully we'll have good service in here. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, it's like nice, ice and cold in here. It's about 3,000 degrees out in the shop. Whoa, whoa. Got to get in a good spot where I got good lighting, you know. Gotta get that glow light. All right, I'm gonna hook you guys up. Maybe answer a couple questions. Get back out there. Maybe get a beverage. See what's up. All right, what do you guys got going on? That's Frozen Duraloop. L99, yeah. Yeah, the L99 is not good. And it's probably my own fault. I think this all stemmed because people were asking about what happened. Why did it go bad? It didn't just go bad on its own. Obviously, somebody did something, and there's only one somebody, and that's me. And what happened, I think, is that when I did one of the cam swaps and bolted the timing gear to the camshaft, when I put the cam dowel in, which the cam dowel was not there, I had to cut the cam dowel. And when I cut it, I don't think I cut the cam dowel square. And when I tapped the cam dowel in and then put the timing gear on, I don't think the timing gear went all the way against the camshaft. I think that the dowel was holding the gear out away from the cam facing. And when I took it back off to do another cam swap, I noticed that there was wear on the cam retaining plate. So probably the material started from the cam retaining plate because I did something wrong and then went into the bearings and then caused more problems later on. This motor didn't seem to make as much power as I thought it should right from the beginning. So I don't know if there was an issue. I doubt it. I think that it's from that. But that's it. And even if there was something going on before that, I think that that's ultimately what killed it. So I'm probably to blame, and I'll just get another one, and we'll start fresh. And sometimes that happens, and it's it's not a real expensive mistake because it's only a few $100s or whatever. It's more for me the time that it takes to go get another one. I mean, like I said in the video, on the plus side, I get to go to the wrecking yard again, which for me is always good. But it is a lot of work to go get that done and get it out and get it up and running and prep it and do all that stuff. So it'll be interesting. I'd like to go get another one. While I'm there, we've also got to get an LT1. And, while I'm there, I got to look at everything else. I'm also looking for a 440. So Russell's saying the LPG isn't that common. East Coast is in the house. The camera can't keep with all the shiny bits. That does happen. It throws off my camera too on my phone. The Ishinator's in the house. That's right. Richard Posterior, nice. Happy to help, man. Gail Banks of the Junkyard. That's high praise. Gail does some great stuff. Mr. Ish, that's right. I'll see if Eric can pull the tune. I don't know that they want to see it because it's not going to be what they want, but we can give it to them. Spelly Spell, just send me an email, and the motors are for sale, not by me because they're not my motors, but the guy who imported them that's allowing me to use one would definitely sell you one. Do you do a compression and valve check? Yeah, what I'll do is probably do a compression test on these motors before we run them. Why would you not have the crank and rods ground? Because it's going to be more expensive to do that than it is just to get a whole nother motor. Hopefully you can find an Oldsmobile 455. That would be difficult, I think. How much do you guys charge to yank out an engine at the Boneyard? I don't go do that for other people. There are guys at our wrecking yard that will do that though. And I use them quite often because a lot of times I'm here dyno testing and I have to be on the dyno getting stuff done because obviously it's expensive. And then if I can have somebody, if I go over and find a motor, I can have them be pulling it out while I'm doing stuff here. Let's see, do you think a wagon version of the Mustang would sell if they release one next year? I don't know. I don't know how that would look. I do like the BMW wagons. I like those, and a Mercedes wagon. I like those, especially like a an M series BMW wagon. I think is awesome, and then an AMG wagon for Mercedes. I think that those are very cool. Do you have an idea why the bearing failed? Yeah, we just went over that. The 4200 VVT, Calvin second, yourself third, you're the fourth person to run it, so they need the tune file. Okay, we can give it to them. And we ran it with like we may have run it with a 3 or 4 bar map sensor in it too. Yeah, get the likes going, man. Come on. If you're here, you gotta like it. Hit that like button. Dinosaur. And when we ran the variable cam, we adjusted it everywhere the same. So we started at 0, we went to 15, 20, 25, whatever the maximum was. And when we did that testing, we only did that NA, as I remember. I don't think we did that turbocharged yet. That was planned for this trip. But unfortunately, I still don't have the heads today. Do you need the heads need more CFM if you're running methanol? It depends on where you're injecting it. But yeah, if the methanol displaces it, I could see why people would say that they do. Not to leave anyone or anything out, how is the Nova? It's the same as it was yesterday. It's sitting at my house. What are your thoughts on the Dodge Magnum wagon? I like those. I think the bear testing will move your channel to a whole nother level. I guess if I do it correctly, maybe it would help, right? Actually, I think that the Jeep I was told that the Jeep in the algorithm for YouTube is one of the most popular. Yeah, Calvin is using the 4200 in a lot of stuff, and he's doing a lot of cool testing, which I like. I need to catch up. I can't let him, get all the 4200 love out there. Can you talk about rear gear ratio and the effect on supercharger application? I don't know. Are you trying to, if you're trying to keep if it's a centrifugal supercharger and you're using gearing, like rear end gearing, to keep the engine up in a higher engine speed, I can understand that, because those would go together. Because a centrifugal blower is going to have maximum boost or good efficient boost at higher engine speeds. So that would be just like having a motor that's very cammy and wants to run high RPM anyway, and which centrifugal blower motors typically do. .32 or 1.5 AR on a 92 millimeter turbo 454. How much boost are you running? Get a rolled Hellcat drivetrain and stuff it into a Magnum wagon. That would be nice, but that sounds like a $15,000 or $20,000 project. Can we start another 305 versus 350 debate? I don't think we solved that last night. If not knock limited, would you expect the wide open spark table timing to be the same for E85 and 93? But how are they going to be not limited if at 1, 2, and 3 bar on 93 octane? When I can tell you that we have run tests on pump gas and E85 at the same timing, and the E85 still makes more power. I haven't run it at anywhere near those because I wouldn't run 93 at any of those boost levels. There is half a 5.7 Hemi in the desert by my house. £20 on E85, that's a good combination. 20 pounds and 20 degrees on E85. What are your thoughts on this cam? For twin 67, 66 is 28, 228, 230, 620, 600, 114 plus 4. So, Jay, you should know what I'm going to tell you, and everybody else should be able to sound off and say what kind of cam that is, because we know that every cam is a turbo cam, and that will work. I don't know why you need 620 lift. 600 would work fine. The camshaft will work fine. The camshaft is going to do what it does NA, and then the boost is just going to add to that. Ever try starting fluid as a power adder? No, I haven't. We've used it obviously to start motors before, but not as a power adder. I was just talking to a guy today that had run a 512-inch stroker 440 that did really well, and we were talking about a 408 stroker Magnum that he did. I haven't messed with a Pontiac 301. I think that they're cylinder head limited, kind of. So if you think about boost, that if you can get a 301 to make 300 horsepower, then at 14.5 pounds, it's going to make 600. If you can get it to make 350, then it will make 700, and so on and so on. So whatever the NA power output is the thing you should be concerned with on doing turbo combinations. I have an LQ4 with 243 heads, a sloppy stage 2 cam and headers. We'll take a look at the video that I have up where we ran a sloppy stage 2 with on a 6-liter. So it'll give you a pretty good idea. I think we ran it with, may have run it with rec port heads. So it's going to make a little more power than your combination does. And I would be surprised if that thing makes peak power at 26 degrees. It probably wants 29. But maybe on the street at temperature, maybe 26 is better. After I had my L83 AFM delete, I started to have a misfire problem on all cylinders that had AFM lifter. When you did your AFM delete, you left in the AFM lifters? Replacing those lifters should be part of that upgrade. So Mark, your 4200 parts are coming on Sunday. Let me know how they look. Noodles, it means it's 4 degrees advanced. Did you ever test an NA cam from company turbo setup? Yes, all the time, and it works fantastic. Again, Richard, forget about turbo cam and NA cam. The cam that you pick is the one that's going to have the power curve that you want when it's NA. Then the boost just makes that same curve, but more of it. So whatever the cam does, whatever kind of power curve it makes NA, and you like that, then you just add boost on top of it. Yeah, Gary, did you Did you not have a tune after you did all that stuff? That would definitely be mandatory. Advanced engine dynamics. I'm happy to help. Have you ever seen a tunnel ram with 4 Webers on it? I think only in the magazines as kind of a showy thing. I don't think I've ever seen one running. What are your thoughts on rebuilding an AMC 327? I think you should. I think that's great. Every motor deserves to live and be more powerful. Oh, I heard the truck is running. So let's walk over there. We can maybe listen to it. We can listen to it. Make some noise. Wah, wah, wah. Yes, make some noise. Oh man, right now I'm walking over there turning it off. What's up? Do. And plus we're giving you a tour of West Tech. I hear the fuel pump running. I think I should order some pizza. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's all you get. We're gonna be running that. I'm sure they're just getting it started and doing the tuny tune. What management system is this? Oh, a fast sportsman. Okay, cool. Yeah, fasten it up. Fast it up, Buttercup. Okay, we'll give them a few minutes. So it started. It's making noise. That's a good start. I like that. Let's see where we are on our battery. We're just still doing good. Still doing good. Let's see. What's up? So here we go. Everybody should combine a blower and a tunnel ram and nitrous and E85. But only David Freiberger does cool stuff like that, which is awesomeness. Supreme awesomeness. Or hidden under there, stack injection on a big block. Pretty fancy. Fancy schmancy. What do we got going on? What else can I show you guys? Wall. Some tunnel rammy goodness here. Come on, zoom in. You'll get it. There we go. Tunnel rammy goodness. Nothing but good stuff. Do. Back in my hideout, the honeycomb hideout. Honeycomb hideout. Okay, here we go. Just really bright. Really bright. So, what else you guys got going on? Where's my? Oh, here we go. Here, the truck's alive over there again too. We'll have to go over as soon as they're doing some stuff. Any chance of getting a flathead video? Yeah, my buddy Bob has one. He said we could run it. can you do a Gen 6 454 with stock EFI and long block with a centrifugal? I have a Vortec 454 Pro Charger waiting. Yeah, you can. You're going to obviously have to have a lot more fuel injector to make that work. And then you're going to have a way to tune the factory injection. We normally run them with an aftermarket setup, like a Faster Holly. But I've run the factory fuel injection here, but we ran it with the Holly to compare the stock EFI intake manifold to we normally run them as a carbureted deal, like with a dual plane. Read in Vizard's book that turbo cars with more back pressure, 2-to-1, benefit from a wider LSA, lower back pressure, are good with an NA spec cam. I would like to see the dyno testing on those, because I've run lots of NA versus turbo cam tests with lots of different back pressure relationships, and in the power ranges and the boost ranges that I'm running those in, I don't see that. If one camshaft makes more power NA, it's going to make more power under boost. And I've never seen an instance, and again, I don't run them at 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 horsepower. I don't run them in that range, so maybe on dedicated, drag race buildups that would be the case. But for this stuff that I normally run, and the stuff that I show you guys what's happening in the 1,000 horsepower range or less, I don't see that happening. I've never seen a camshaft that made more power NA make less power under boost compared to the other cam. I haven't seen that happen, and I'm sure that it does. I'm sure that there is a crossover point somewhere, but it's not in the range of the stuff that I run. Yes, Dean, they made naturally aspirated 301s that were not very powerful, 2-barrel and 4-barrel versions. Any word on the Ford Flathead? Think you can get 10-to-1 out of it? I don't know. They are race motors that they did, that they run them in. They might run them at Bonneville or somewhere. I'd have to find out. I don't know a lot about them. He just said we could run one if we wanted to. I have not done anything on the 4.7 Dodge. Is there any Holly harness to use the 4200 right now? No, and I don't think that they would be able to control the variable cam timing either. Let's see. Also, so I'm looking to rebuild my 5.2 valve. I'm wondering about cam chop. Let's see. Is it all in the LSA? Their lift and duration. Is it all in the LSA? Their lift and duration play part? Lift plays very little part in that. The duration plays a bigger part. The NA cam has low overlap. Mark, the MS3 Pro will support the BARRA crank trigger. Will it work with the variable cam on the BARRA? That's the thing I was concerned with. It's a standard crank trigger pattern, so that's very easy. Michael, would I dyno a centrifugal setup on a Gen 644 stock EFI? I won't run a motor on the engine dyno with the stock fuel injection, if that's what you're asking. I will only run it with a fast or a Holly. And an HO cam, a 454 HO cam, will work just fine with a centrifugal blower. So you'll have the NA power output, and then the boost will add to that in a rising fashion with a centrifugal blower. An opinion on the Sniper Stealth EFI for drag racing. I don't know anything about that fuel injection. If it's a throttle body fuel injection, I don't like those. Vizard used an LSA of 120 with the cam retarded and made 1,500 horsepower. See, that's not a that's not a test of anything, because you don't know what it would have made with a different cam. It's not an accurate measurement. What is a cheap computer and harness that I can do for an LS swap? I want to add boost, but I want to get. I've been told several options, but can't decide. I don't know. What are the options that they've told you? A lot of guys will just use the factory stuff. They'll use the factory harness and tune the factory computer. People think no overlap eliminates reversion. That's nonsense. That's why I said you don't try to eliminate overlap. We run lots of cams that have overlap on turbo applications, and they work just fine. Forget about your theories and what you're thinking about is happening, or you've read somebody tells you that happens. Look at the dyno results. Run this cam and see what it does. Run this cam and see what it does. Then run them both under boost and see what they do. That tells you. The theory doesn't tell you what happens. I don't know about the push rod length on an LA83 versus an LA86. Vacuum secondaries on a single plane, best of both worlds. I don't know what you mean by best of both worlds. A single plane will always act like a single plane regardless of what carburetor you put on it. Does a dual quad have better fueling than a single carb? Same intake style, just one versus two. Well, when you run a dual quad manifold, it's not the same manifold as a single quad manifold, because the positioning, where the fuel enters the system for each one of the ports has to be different on a single carbureted application versus a dual carbureted application. Unless it's even if it's a tunnel ram, you're still going to see a difference in where it is. So it's not a direct back-to-back test. Turbo 32 Coupe has offered some information saying that EFI source makes an LS harness mated to a micro squirt that is a drop-in. Is reasonable boost feasible on 10-to-1 motor? Yeah, look at all the factory stuff. Look at the blower kits and turbo kits and stuff that people put on a factory LS3 or LS1 or LS2 that have that kind of compression. You just have to have the timing right and the octane right. And I haven't seen a lot of dual quad manifolds other than tunnel rams that add power over a single 4-barrel application. Most dual quads are not adding power over a single RPM air gap style intake, let's say. A 750 won't be too much for your 5.9 Magnum. That would be fine. I do a ton of Megasport stuff. Okay, here's a question for the EFI guys out there. What EFI system can I run my 3-cylinder Sprint with? Somebody let me know. Help me out. We'll take another walk. I'm gonna have to plug my thing in, I think, pretty soon here. Where are we at? We're getting kind of low. Not terrible, but we're gonna go out here. I'm gonna try to get my connection stable because it doesn't like being in this hole, although it is nice and cool in here. Come on, connection. Come on back to me. You know you love me. I'm hearing noise. I'm seeing smoke. That's really loud. I'm not sure I like that. Yeah. Something's still going on with my connection here. The 3-cylinder Sprint motor actually has a distributor, so I don't know what the trigger is on it. I'd have to look up. Come on, connection. What are you doing here? What's up? What's up? Should be better out here. Should be better out here, yo. Yeah, the truck is really nice. It's very nicely done. I don't think it's going to be going out on the racetrack, but I think it is going to, look awesome and sound awesome and have more than. It sounds like it's going to have more than enough power too, as any blown big block probably should. I'm going to hook you guys up. Whoa. Yeah, now we're juiced up. Okay, your connection is unstable. Hopefully, I'm still online here. Can you guys still? Megasport can run any distributor engine. Okay. The LSA only comes into play when maxing your boost level and only on certain combinations. When back pressure is limiting the published max value of your turbo, the fix is more LSA. For a twin 6766 G8 setup, should we run 3-inch or 3.5, 4-inch exhaust or anything else special for the street? Off of each one, I would try to make the exhaust as big as you can, because there's no downside to that other than fitment. So if whatever the fitment allows you, you should run that. You can make a lot of power with 3-inch, but I would go 3.5 on that. Megasport can run any distributor engine. Okay, I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. If you wire the crank and cam sensors to the MS3 Pro and take a high-speed data log, James can write the cam encoder report. Okay. Horsepower is always limited by having fewer carbs. only if it needs more airflow than the single carb can provide, but that's not always the case. Oh, for the BARRA, okay. Okay, 572 big block, then 871 intercooled, 24150 carbs, marine engine, bought used, rebuilding. Thoughts on 4500 series carbs? They're making noise over there. 5200 RPM. Any difference in power? Well, it depends on what size 4150s you're talking about versus what size 4500s you're talking about. Usually the 45s will make more power if you have the 871 turned up. If you're only making 600 horsepower, then don't bother. If you're trying to max out the 871, then more induction is probably good. If you have two 4150 950 HPs or XPs already, there's probably not too much left. Do you feel the push to EVs will invade traditional hot rodding as we know it? Not for a long time. But EVs are just the next version of hot rodding. I mean, it's an electric vehicle, and if you can put more electricity to it, like with the boosted pump, you can make it faster. And some of these guys with these electric ones are out doing some pretty impressive stuff. Just need the cam and crank to spin the motor. We all know that. My question is about specifically about, my question was about, not about the BARRAS, it was about the 3-cylinder. I know, motorcycles, boats, just about anything, except none of those are 3-cylinder, unless they put it on a Kawasaki triple. Yukon, that will work fine. That turbo on a tune port will work fine. There's a video up on the turbo tune port. We ran a whole set, and I think we ran, I'm trying to think of what it was. I'm thinking it was, I think it might have been as small as a 60 millimeter. I think you can get, we normally run a 3-port here. I don't know that I've run a 4-port on the engine dyno yet. I haven't seen a need to do that. I don't know what you're doing, and maybe you're doing something that's very advanced where maybe you're running CO2 or something for more dome pressure. I don't know what kind of boost you're trying to run. Just tell the Megasport the 3-cylinder is a 6-cylinder. So what's it going to do when it fires the other 3? Aren't we going to have to wait for the next 3 to come along? Flowmaster on a 1970 SS Chevelle automatic can't work. Flowmaster mufflers? They work on everything, right? Yeah, the 750 triples were amazing. I rode an RD 400, a buddy of mine back in high school, a lot, and it was very cool, but it was not what those 750 triples were. You might be able to tell the Megasport. I just don't know. A lot of stuff doesn't go down to 3 cylinders because it's weird. Gary, the answer might be yes on the nitrous. I may think less on boost, unless it's a supercharger and not a turbo. Then maybe the extra exhaust flow might benefit from it. And I say might because it might not also. Are we equipped to run diesel engines here? They can, but they don't. Where did the links go? The links to what? Megasport is a batch fire, so I think you're telling it it's a 6-cylinder might work. Use a fuel injection system from a 1-liter 3-cylinder Ford Fiesta turbo. You'd have to convert to direct injection somehow. Well, the Sprint motor was already had factory fuel injection on it. We could use that, but I don't have that. All I have is the motor now because unfortunately they stole the car. Any chance of a turbo 306? Yes, that will happen. Yeah, the firing order is 132 on the Sprint motor. I don't think the Holly will run a 3-cylinder. I talked to Eric about that, and it will work. And I don't think the Fast will work either. I think we looked into that back in the day because I wanted to run something other than when I was trying things like the compound turbos on the Sprint and stuff. We wanted to get rid of the vane meter because it was restrictive and it was in the way of us being able to tune because we were having to do it old school. We were having to put clicks in the vane meters and have it not open until the last second and run lots of boost and put additional fueling in through a rising rate regulator and do a boost retard, more boost retard on it, put good fuel, all that stuff, put big injectors in it. It was, we were Mickey Mousing the thing. It needed a standalone, but we weren't able to get it running back in the day. I don't plan on going distributors on the. I'd like to not do that on the Sprint motor if I run it on the. I just want to run it on the engine dyno. I just want to get it on the dyno, do an adapter from that bell housing pattern to a small block Chevy or Ford or whatever's closest, and run that, and then run different levels of boost on it. Because I made an air-to-water intercooler for it, which I drove around in the car. This is very cool. My reservoir for my air-to-water system was I think was a 1-gallon gas can. So it just had, I just hole sawed holes in it and stuck tubes in it, and that was the system. And then we had another heat exchanger mounted in the front, which is something that I found that we had laying around that I use as the heat exchanger. So it was all just, and the reservoir for the intercooler system was just bungee corded over to the side of the fender well, and it's pretty rigged. I could obviously always just put a carburetor on it. The holdup on the heads is I don't have them, so there's nothing I can do if I don't have them. The 3-cylinder Sprint motor is the same motor used in the Metro. They also had a 1-liter 3-cylinder in there. This was the turbo version. They also ran that motor in the XFI in high fuel NA version. Noodles is going for hydration. So 572 making 1,000 horsepower. So you were getting up near the limit of those 871s. If they were just standard 871s, 750s would probably, you could go up to 950s and add some power to it. Yeah, the Chevy Sprint is a Geo Metro. It's. I don't know about the Daihatsu Charade. What's the best comp cam to put in a 5.3 liter? Just tell me how much power you're trying to make. I'll tell you what cam to use. Limited to 12-pound injectors? That's not going to work very well. My Sprint got great gas mileage. Yeah, the car was over having a cage put in it because we were going to run it out at Bonneville. I'd run it at Maxton, at the Maxton Mile, and we set 2 records, and we were trying to set the 3rd record, and then the clutch started slipping. So we'd already gone faster at the Maxton Mile than the record was out at Bonneville for that particular car. But we had to put a cage in it, so we were putting a cage in it, and I'd pulled the motor out and stuff, and it was stolen while they were putting the cage in. Hear the motor over there running. Listen, you can hear it. You can hear the blower. Why would somebody steal a Chevy Sprint Turbo? You need to read up on your performance cars. Four guys over 200 pounds. Just pulled up Tuner Studio, and there is a 3-cylinder option in the setup. Do you need larger than stock injectors? Let's see, 24s. 50 times 8, 400. Yeah, probably so. They'll get you about 400 horsepower. Somebody's rocking a Chevette with a Sprint body on it. Nice. What factory transmission? A 4L80 probably. Everybody's here to learn. Listen, I'm learning that they have that motor running next door. What's your favorite small block forward head on an A2 deck at a 4034 325 stroke? None of that makes any difference. Take a look at the 3 different, I think the 3 of them are up there, might be 4. I tested all the forward heads essentially. So just look at all the results on those and pick the one that you like. Yeah, I think that they ended up catching the guys. What they did was they stole the car and took it and sold it to because it had to be an inside job. They stole the car is the story that I got from the police. They stole the car and sold it to a wrecking yard, and the wrecking yard crushed it, probably because they were getting credits for something. I hope it didn't fall prey to cash for clunkers. That would be terrible. But they crushed it, and then so they paid the people for the car, and then the wrecking yard crushed it, and so the car is gone. And I'm like, that's terrible. A Volkswagen diesel is a good one, a good fuel economy car. Anything on the dyno test on the Mopar piston rotation? I haven't run the piston flip yet. I haven't even run the Mopar yet. Holder just admitted you wanted any top speed record and thought of the sprint. That's top speed, yo. What did we win? We went 119 in the standing mile in the sprint. With a whopping 100, that was about 100 horsepower at the tire. $228 mph sprint. That would be a lot. No, that was the Civic. The Civic went that fast. And it only went 227. 228 is a total exaggeration. What's up with the Nova? It's still there. Still sitting there in my backyard. And now for some reason I can't open the trunk, which was odd because it's the next thing that I wanted to do. $1 mile an hour more than the Civic. I know that would be better. 228 would definitely be better. It would be one up. I don't know how you get. I don't know that I'd want to drive that sprint that fast. It might want to swap ends. The Civic was nice and stable. Uh, 850s would be good. Are you running? Are you going to run E85? But if things go well, I'm going to try to run the 360 while I'm down here. There's just no dyno time available right now. And I was going to run the 4200, but there's no cylinder heads available right now. Twin turbos, nitrous, and a blower on the Sprint. I didn't do all of those. I did do twin turbos, but they were compound, not sequential or just twins. Do you have engine transmission plans for the Nova? Yeah, it's going to need both of those. What's your favorite and most powerful B series? I don't know about my favorite one, but the most powerful one was the one that I did for we ran it here on the engine dyno back when they had the 901 because it was not directional. And we ran it with I just put a turbo that I borrowed from a Hovit. So it was one of his 76 millimeters, one of the twins he was running at the time on the 4.6 liter. So I thought, one's going to work good. And we ran it up to about 29 pounds, and it made 720 or 730 or something at that boost level. I just went 160 in a Civic. That's really fast. So, Mark, are you going to use that ported 4200 head on your motor? Mike, and it was awful. It was actually a lot more adventurous than just that, because if I had a standalone management system, that actually wouldn't be too bad. But I was trying to do it with a vane meter, which if you guys have had any experience with a vane meter, flapper door, that's why they call it that, putting clicks in the flapper door, that's hard to do. The rule of thumb on top speed is that you can improve, if you improve the speed by 25%, that requires 100% increase in power. I once took a very built 79 F-150 up to 170. Smoked the wheel bearings. If you're not using 85, then the injectors will definitely work for gas. The 720 or 30 horsepower deal, I think the video is up for that. We've used a ported B16 head or a ported GSR head because I had two engines that we built for Bonneville. We've used a sleeved GSR block and also a dart block. We used a variety of different camshafts. Back then, we used Skunk stage 2s. I've also run Crower stage 2s and combined stage 2s and stage 3s. I spent a lot of time dialing it in. I usually on the engine dyno, we ran the 76 millimeter from a precision 76 millimeter and a big dual core air to water intercooler. We ran it on race gas. I maybe would have run it on E85 had we done that back then. The intake manifold we ran was an extrude hone ported Type R, and you could also do that with other manifolds. We ran it was just an exhaust manifold that we made. The guys from HP Performance made it for me. Just merged together into a T4 flange. It was a T4 flange. Out at Bonneville, when we set the records, we only ran a 72 millimeter turbo, and we were only running about 17 pounds when we set the record. Yeah, being in the passenger seat, it seems that's not fun. It seems like the car's going twice as fast. A 2.8 with a 5-speed in a Chevette. A 2.8 with a 5-speed in a Chevette. I like this Chevette swap stuff. I think that those are cool. Well, I thought we'd be able to see more chassis dyno testing, but it sounds like they're still working on throwing the tune at it. Richard, have you ever tested the alcohol content of the 85 you usually get? I don't ever test it. I just drive over to the gas station and fill up the jugs and we run it. And we're so far away from from what the safety factor would be. Even 50, we're still well within that range. Does having too large an injector take away from fuel economy? No, only if you can't, because sometimes with really big injectors, you can't control them at really low duty cycles, so at idle and light part throttle, depending on the injector slope, if the injector is good or not. Sometimes it's hard to control a really big one. I wouldn't recommend putting an injector that can supply 1,500 horsepower in a motor that's only making 300 or 400. There's no reason to do that. Just run something that's closer to stock. But if it's a cammed one, I would put an injector in that's sized for the range of power that you're going to have, not for double or triple that. A Grand National swap and a Chevette would be good. Yeah, cutting the roof would definitely help for aero. We did a bunch of stuff. I put a belly pan on it, and I put a rear belly pan on it. We lowered it. I lowered it using the hose clamps on the springs because the springs, I mean, the car only weighed like 1,700 pounds. So the springs were so weak that you could just use hose clamps to clamp the springs down and it would lower the car. We did that when we were out at Maxton. 410 Cleveland, 10.1, TFS 195 heads, 284 cam. 32 degrees of timing, having wild ping under load, not sure where to go. What do you suggest? Well, where do you have 32 degrees at? If you have 32 degrees at the peak, maybe you have the thing ramped in to have too much timing too early, and that's why it's rattling. Maybe you need to have 32 degrees, but you need to have like 7 or 8, and you need to come in later than that and not get 32 until maybe 4,000 RPM. That's what you do with weights and springs and stuff. Team America, I'm glad you're here, man. Evan, send me links to those sprints if they're for sale in California. Yeah, the E85 is just the name of the fuel. It's not an actual rating. It can vary from, I think that they said, it might even go as low as 50 or 55 all the way up to above 85. I think E85 is basically the maximum number. Yeah, if it's all in by 2800, it might be coming in too fast if you're getting detonation. Just retard it a bunch and see if it goes away, and then you have to start working on getting the curve so that you don't have detonation, but still, if that's where it wants to make peak power, but have that at wherever the horsepower peak is, because it's probably not going to want 32 degrees before the torque peak. That seems like it's going to be too early. I know most performance carbureted stuff, we usually had it all in before 3000, but that's when everything's working, right? I think that they even had and they might still have it here at Westech, they have a distributor machine. We normally, when we run, normally we run them locked on the engine dyno because it makes life easier. But if we run a curve in it, if we put something in that's going to eventually run on the street or on the track or wherever, then they'll do an MSD with a curve in it. So they'll put a blue spring and a silver spring, and then a black bushing, I think is normally what the hot setup is. I don't know about a low buck blow through carburetor. I've never done that. I've never converted one, and I don't know of one that's a good, a usable deal. Is there an absolute limit for pump gas? I don't know. I don't really get into that. I can't tell people, look, you can run 20 pounds on pump gas as long as you do this and this and this. I don't know what that is. I was talking to a guy that did the tuning on Don Mazier's drag race car, and he was telling me about a small block Ford that he ran back in the day about 10 years ago that he ran on pump gas at, I think he was saying like 40 pounds, but he ran a ton of water meth injection on it. And he said that and it was a blow through carbureted application. So the blow through application obviously has charge cooling right there. And he said, we ran as much water meth through the motor as we could. We had 2 systems on it, and we had all the jets in it, and we maxed the pumps out. He said, so I think that that's why the thing stayed alive. So maybe in absolute things, there are applications where you can run a lot on pump gas. I just don't normally do that. Area 51, we used to call our testing in Nevada Area 52 because we were trying to be cool. Yeah, the detonation level is going to be a function of the weight of the vehicle and the stall converter and what the air temperature is going into the motor. So if you don't have cold air, you should. All of that stuff makes a big difference when it's actually in the car. Pizza's in the house. All right, guys, only got a couple minutes left. I thought we were going to get to see some more chassis dyno stuff, but that they're going to make some power runs, but they're still working on it. Yeah, and a higher stall speed converter. Michael's right. That might help. Team America, you're telling Mark to do coil packs and a cam and springs are coil packs on a 4.3? Yeah, quench is important, and you can soften the chamber. I was talking to some guys about that today. That definitely helps, and the guys who are running nitrous, it definitely helps on those nitrous applications. T. I'm sure Dale Banks doesn't even know that I exist, so I doubt that he would make that comment. The slant 6, I have the head back for the slant 6, so that can actually be put back together. And that's also on the to-do list while I'm down here. I'd actually like to just put the head on and run it stock and see what happens. Yeah, and it has an air gap and a 750 on it. The other thing to look at, I don't know if you have an air fuel meter, but you might want to see if it's lean there too. Part of your problem might be that it's lean and has too much timing, and you might be able to cure that a little bit with fuel, although the fuel is not going to kill an ignition problem. Marty, does it have a cold air intake on it? For super coverage at Causey Heads, what CID would you go with the stock block? You could go out to a 557, but something over 500 anyway. Corky Bell, I've met Corky before. I met him out when I did the Road and Track Top Speed Shootout way back. Yeah, I'd like to get the BARRA head on the flow bench. I just have to take it off of the BARRA. I'm looking to perform my first truck engine build with a 1970 Chevy C20 with a 307 be a good choice. Yes, there's no bad choice there. If it's your first one, you're going to learn and make mistakes. So know that going in and just get it done. Don't be worried about what motor it is. Oh, if it's rich, yeah, you're already down to a 6.5 power valve and you changed 8 jet sizes. That's a lot. Have you adjusted the idle? The idle mixture too is going to help you. I'm in Texas, so I'm limited for upgrades. I think you could do everything. I think when you go buy upgrades in Texas, they give you like guns and liquor and fireworks, I thought. And bacon. Don't forget the bacon. I don't know anything about the 4-cylinder turbo in the new Silverado, but I'm all for boosted engines, obviously. So we'll take one more before I sign off. I'll see what's going on with the truck. The what's up truck. It's all lonely and quiet over here. But it's very windy with a fan going. Yeah, fanage. All right, guys. Looks like we're not going to get to see some. So what's going on with the chassis down, yo?
I'm letting it go down. Decided I want to get hot. So
Oh, okay.
you guys want to see a run or something?
Are you going to make it a power run?
You guys want me to do a power run?
Yeah, we want to see a power run. But we don't want you to do it till it's ready. So everybody raise your hand. Who wants to see a power run? Let me see those hands up, yo.
These tires are slipping. They're kind of hard.
Are they?
Yeah.
Big old meats.
Yeah, they've just been on it for...
Well, just kind of roll into it initially and see if it can handle it. So did you think you got a lot of the drivability stuff done?
It's getting there, yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty finicky because it's got 4 injectors on this, on the top of the blower.
Yeah.
And it's just scattering fuel.
Oh, okay.
You got to run a little bit on the richer side just so the other cylinders get.
How touchy is it? Like, how's the throttle opening? Does it have big blades on it?
The throttle geometry will have to be revisited. It's
pretty touchy.
It's pretty touchy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you get away from that with that unless you have a rising rate throttle assembly.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's either you can't even get to 5% throttle. It just
And this is a stick car too, right?
Yeah.
He's going to have some issues with that. All right, it looks like we might see a power run or two. Let's find out. Yeah, power run. Oh yeah, let me get some. I'm gonna have to get some. Don my safety protection here. I'm gonna have to get muffed up. And oh man, I think I jacked mine up. Put my safety muffs on, and they're pink. Don't judge. Yeah, I know. I know you're jealous. I know you are. You know what the difference is? I make these look good. Let me get you guys set up, yo. I'm trying to find a good spot for you. How low can you go? So, yeah. Okay. Now you guys can't even see me, but I can read what you're saying. Now I want to build a pro street car. Come on. Yeah! Yeah. Unfortunately, it's spinning the tire. It's a pretty hard tire, I guess. This is an older build, I think. Yeah, it was completed in 2005. So right now it's a 540. And let's see. I don't see what side. I'm assuming that that's an 871. So he wasn't even able to make really a full power run. I mean, it's only showing like 550 or 600 foot-pounds of torque, but it's just kind of spinning the tires. Well, whoop! I need a hub dyno, yeah. I don't know how old those tires are. I guess I could take my pink muffs off. Ear muffs. I don't know. I mean, I didn't look at the dates on the tires to find out how old they were. Yeah, the blower whine. Tune time with the Ishinator. Australia's in the house. Australia's in the house. Sit in the back. You can't sit in the back. And the back of that truck is all like redone with, you know, beech wood, and it's, you know, it's just way too fancy. I don't even like walking by those kinds of trucks because it's, you know, if you scratch the paint, I obviously can't afford to fix that. They're super big money. But hopefully the guy is cool and that owns it and drives it around, because, you know, it's going to be a nice truck. Yeah, they need some VHT sauce. They need some secret sauce, some pimp juice. Yep, it's good. Tom's back. What's up? Yeah, did you see the... Yep, they built that motor. It's a big block. I don't know what it made, 700 or 800 horsepower or something. It's probably been sitting for 15 or 20 years. That thing hasn't been moved since they hoisted it up there with the forklifts. That was exciting. West Virginia, Albuquerque. Are you at Powertrain Dynamics? No, I have been down there a lot, though. I miss seeing Steve and the guys down there. Ooh, a Rouch Yates 402 Cleavor, 901 NA power. That's good power, man. Looks like he's going to make another run over there. What? I don't understand, Mike. Don't like, didn't show. What's that? Yeah, definitely, it definitely is a show truck. I mean, it's not gonna, nobody's gonna go out and race that thing. You should see the underside of it and stuff. The thing's all detailed. It's like, again, not my kind of thing because I like things that people drive. See if Ish gets in it. See if it's gonna spin. I know that. I don't know who the one guy is, man. I'm sure it's somebody who got banned. I was contacted by the guys at Speedmaster about doing videos for them because apparently they're in the transmission business now, and I'm told that they have C4 transmissions that will handle, they're saying 1,300 horsepower or more. They have a bunch of, he went into a little bit of detail, was telling me what they were trying to do, but apparently it has a bunch of C6 stuff in it. And I'm sure it has, 300 M shafts and all kinds of good stuff in it. He said they're racing them in Australia right now, and they make a ton of power, or you can make a ton of power and put down a ton of power with these C4 transmissions. So I don't know, we'll have to see. Three M tape tires. Uh-oh. I think the ghost just opened the door over there. Uh-oh. Mr. Invisible just walked by. It did sound like it had a Pete Jackson gear drive on it, but it had the good kind, though, the one that makes positive pressure. All right, guys, I got to get going. I got lots of stuff to do. BARRA motor. I got to take that thing apart. 118 watching, 126 likes. That's what we like. That we like a more than 100% ratio there. No, there is no such thing as bad press. Thank you guys all for showing up. I wish we could have shown more at chassis down stuff. Sometimes it doesn't always work out like that. Like when I'm on the engine dyno, sometimes we're trying to do stuff and then I break it. And that happens. Thanks, guys. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a good weekend. Although I will see you on Saturday.